George R.R. Martin is starting to worry that there's a chance, maybe, perhaps, he's writing a little bit too slow. He's come to the conclusion that maybe he's running a little bit slow and the Game of Thrones TV show will catch up to where he is in A Song of Ice and Fire's series and maybe surpass him. To that he says, well, I'm writing book 6, The Winds of Winter. I'm starting to worry because everybody keeps asking me, what are you going to do if the show catches up to you? And I didn't think it was a problem before, but they're moving faster than I am, and it's beginning to scare me. But I still have a pretty considerable lead, or at least that's what I'm telling myself. Season 3 is only the first half of book 3. Season 4 will be the second half of book 3. And then I have book 4 and book 5, and those are gigantic books which have to be recombined because they're actually parallel. I'm hoping those will be the last at least 2 seasons, maybe 3. That will give me some time to finish book 6. By the time I'm doing that season, I'll be writing book 7. That's my story and I'm sticking to it. The problem there is he gave himself 4 or 5 years to write book 6 and 1 year to write book 7, the finale, and that's not going to work, and we all know it. So what's going to happen instead, or what should happen instead?
This is exactly what it was like when I was in elementary school and like had to do a big project, and like I saw it off in the distance, and I was like, oh, I have plenty of time to do my book report on the state of Michigan and learn what its capital is. And then I play video games all the time and slack off and not get to it until like the night before it's due.
That sounds a lot like my college career.
Yeah.
So that's probably not going to work at all. Some of the solutions they're giving is to maybe let the show's creators go their own way, which isn't that bad of an idea. I think they're doing all right with their, no, John's shaking his head, he doesn't like it, he's a purist.
Not canon.
So if this were an anime, that's what we would call a filler season. And filler seasons suck. They generally don't go anywhere and piss off fans. So the other idea was to maybe do some prequel time with the stories of Dunk and Egg, which is
which have been are writings of George R. R. Martin.
Yes, he wrote them.
And they take place
they are set in Westeros.
90 years.
The beginning of it is 90 years before the events.
So none of the same characters.
No, it's Egg is Aegon Targaryen V.
Okay.
And he's the great-grandfather of King Robert.
Okay.
So that's how far ahead of them they are. So there will be none of the characters in their earlier iterations. John is shaking his head again. Fucking John. I looked it up.
Yeah, I didn't think so. I wasn't going to call you out on it like
okay,
John
listen. His daughter is the grandmother.
Okay, it's technically possible because the Baratheons are an offshoot of the Targaryens. I guess
the Baratheons are an offshoot of the Targaryens. That's what John says. I'm right. Look it up. It's a little bit indirect, but it's true. Because remember, Robert says, oh, well, my only claim to the throne is something to do with a distant bloodline relation. And that is it. Oh, now he's nodding. Now he fucking gets it. Thanks, John.
I don't think it's a grandfather.
No. Okay, a distant relative, at least of that age, of Robert the King. Can we stop arguing about it? Go ahead, Tim.
There's a couple things that worry me about upcoming Game of Thrones. One is that book 3 is being broken into 2 seasons. I thought season 1 had such good pacing and was like just action-packed. They had to get everything into those 10 episodes. It was the whole book. It was so good. I feel like this next season is going to be so drawn out because they have 10 episodes for half a book.
It's a long book.
So if they keep doing this, well, yeah, but it's not that much longer than book 1. It's not twice as long.
Okay.
And then, so I would prefer them elaborate on one of the books, the writers elaborate on one of the books and like write their own stuff as opposed to going back and doing prequels.
So you're okay with a few filler episodes?
Yeah,
or
sure.
Maybe a lot of filler episodes?
Well, I mean, whatever it takes.
So are you okay with them like inventing new characters and having them go on their own side adventures, or do you want to see the current characters that we're used to?
You know what would the fastest thing be? Rather than concentrate on writing this big, 1,000, 2,000 page book, is if he just writes the show. I think that could be a lot quicker.
That makes too much sense, Tim.
Yeah.
It makes way too much sense.
And then he could write the book whatever he fucking wants.
I don't know if he would do that, because I think the books are more of his...
The other problem is he is old. He's an old guy.
He is an old guy.
People are worried he's gonna die before he finishes these books.
And he does take a long time to write.
And then what happens, George? Way to go. Can't turn in that project after you're dead.
Well, okay, then they'll be forced to write the ending. Yeah, that's true.
So yeah, I'm a little worried.
Would you be willing to possibly entertain the prequels, or would it just be too divergent?
Oh, I'm sure they would make it work. I'm sure they would blend it in with the story, right? I mean, you'd have a whole host of new actors. You wouldn't see
tell you
any
story
recognizable
about
faces.
a time long ago, and then they just fade out to this other one and stay
There's
there for a
such
whole
compelling stories now. Like, I want to know where everyone's story goes. I don't really care about the people that begat them.
Yeah, I kind of feel that way too. It's too distant from the main story. Like,
I mean,
maybe if they went back to, young Ned, that'd be kind of fun.
Yeah.
But
And I don't think that's too far off canon.
No.
You could tell the story of the war that takes place before, of course, I'm sure that's part of book 7 and 6.
yeah, that might actually
reveal.
interrupt the reveal
Yeah,
of who Jon Snow's parents are.
I know who it is.
I have an idea
I'm
too.
a smart guy.
Yeah.
Is my mother alive? Does she know about me, where I am, where I'm going? Does she care?
The next time we see each other, we'll talk about your mother.
What the hell do you know about being a bastard?
All dwarves are bastards in their father's eyes.